Hi, everybody. My name is Bryan Sarpad. I manage our sales engineering group here at phoenixNAP. Welcome to the webinar Master of Disaster series, the evolution of DR, gaining IT resilience. I know we have a diverse audience with lots of different roles and experience levels, so let's set up and cover a few key items as we build up towards true IT resilience. Before we dive into the presentation, I'm going to do a quick overview of phoenixNAP. We have a couple additional sessions planned for our webinar, one on February 14th, talking about some of the risks of ransomware, and another more technical deep dive on March 8th, comparing the different DR solutions out there right now. So who is phoenixNAP? We're a global outsourced IT infrastructure service provider. We were founded in 2009 when we launched our flagship data center in Phoenix, Arizona. We expanded into several other markets, including Ashburn, Virginia for East Coast coverage, Amsterdam, Netherlands, Atlanta, Georgia, Belgrade, Serbia, and most recently, Singapore. What do we actually do? That's the next one. So this is a overview of our actual infrastructure. We have private transport connecting all our facilities, multiple 10 gig links connecting the carriers at each facility, up to 20 gigs of DDoS protection built in, and over a terabit of global WAN capacity. These are the services we provide: traditional co-location, managed private clouds, virtual private data center, which is a multi-tenant cloud, public cloud, so a pay-by-the-hour option, and other hybrid cloud solutions. We offer bare metal servers that you can rent on a month-to-month basis or a contracted basis. We have an object storage platform based on Cloudian. We offer hardware as a service, so if you use traditional co-location and need to lease hardware, you can get that through us. We offer backup as a service using a couple different solutions depending on what you actually require, and the same with our disaster recovery as a service. So what is BCDR? BCDR stands for Business Continuity and Disaster Recovery. You may want your business to stay running, and you want to be able to quickly and successfully recover your business should something go wrong. Business continuity is regarded as the practice to be able to continue your business seamlessly or as quickly as possible. Disaster recovery is the concept of having systems and procedures in place to get your organization back up and running in the event of a disaster causing downtime to the systems and infrastructure. I want to help you understand what companies have been going through when planning out strategies and adopting technologies to minimize their downtime within IT. But one of the hardest challenges the business encounters is correctly allocating budgets and priorities to what they often consider an insurance policy for IT in the event of what-ifs. You feel the same way about protecting your vehicle, right? You don't want the cost of auto insurance because you know you're a good driver, you're careful, it's been so long since your last disaster. Car accidents can cause expensive damage or include other expensive medical bills, and over the years you've learned that you can't or don't want to cover the cost of certain disasters, that you shop around for the best deal to have at least some minimal coverage. I'm not here to talk to you about an auto insurance policy, but I want to help you understand how you can keep your businesses up more and what we can learn from what others are doing in this space. Let's go over a couple key terms in the industry. We have RPO, the recovery time objective, recovery point objective is the point in time you can get back to in the event of data loss. Meaning if I take a nightly backup of my systems, I can recover from that backup, putting me at a point in time that is up to 24 hours back in time when the last backup occurred. RTO is recovery time objective, the amount of time it will take you to get your systems and your data back up and running to a working and usable state. Again, this should be dictated by the business, meaning how long can you afford to be down before everything must be up and running. Your BCDR plan must have processes in place to ensure the operations and the technology are finely tuned together to ensure RTOs can be met during a disaster, because time is crucial and people are under pressure. One thing I want to help make sure you understand is the recovery point and recovery time for your business is something that is supposed to be determined by the business needs. That may sound obvious, but oftentimes RPO and RTO are determined by the technology and not the business. The business accepts this fact due to a number of reasons, and we'll get into that as we move along. During these exercises, we've gone through determining the business RPOs and RTOs. Technology does need to be looked at. Of course, if you have a choice of 3 different solutions, you want the fastest, easiest solution with the lowest objectives. But if price comes in way too high, you're then willing to negotiate your business objective needs in order to match the risk of disaster versus your solution costs or your insurance policy. The same thing happens with your auto insurance, right? You might pick the best pricing model with the understanding and expectations that if something goes wrong, your car's RTO is probably a day or a week or more. Not very promising, and definitely doesn't meet your needs, but fits into the budget, and you'll get by because you feel your risk of needing it might be low. There are different solutions for different needs and expectations. Oftentimes, you'll see many different products or solutions in place to accommodate the protection or recovery of all these different risks. Power or hardware failures, ransomware or virus infections, or even errors such as file deletions or blue screens, and corruption, whether through human error or not. Nightly backups are still extremely common within this business, and many of you are probably doing this today. Sometimes new technology comes out that is now affordable and allows you to take advantage of things like snapshots, taking a point-in-time picture of that storage or virtual machine where your systems and data lives. And this helps you to reduce your RPO and can also reduce your RTO. We'll see later on that it doesn't stop there and gets even better than only having snapshots as an option. When you hear about new technologies that are tried and true in the industry, take some time to really look into them, because you don't want to be doing what you're doing because it's what you've always done. You don't have to accept that. Remember, times are changing. The competition is driving new technologies, methodologies, and also driving more value than you experienced during your last BCDR activity that involved planning out your strategy, selecting your solution within your budget, and adjusting acceptable RPO and RTOs to fit this. Quite often, businesses are implementing multiple strategies and solutions to accommodate different types of disasters, such as power or hardware failures, network outages, data corruption, or loss through deletion, or things like ransomware, or just due to errors. These solutions bring different operations and oftentimes their own RPO and RTO numbers they can often offer the business. Remember that insurance policy that is going to help you in the rare event that you encounter a disaster? Well, major disruptions are the normal now. They are not rare, and they are impacting you. Let's dig a little deeper there. People often consider natural disasters to be what they're protecting the business against with a BCDR plan. Hurricanes, floods, fires, things causing power outages, or loss of access to the system and data. This data here is from a study to help us show that natural disasters are not the norm impacting business, but there are many types of disasters that will impact your business. These numbers add up to more than 100% because the respondents could select more than one answer. What does this mean? This means they might see a 43% chance of having a power outage, bringing their systems down, and a 31% chance of hardware failure, 15% chance of encountering a software failure, and so on. In fact, natural disasters land in this chart even under human errors. Hurricanes is the highest with about 12% chance there. When one of these disasters strikes, what happens to your business? Did you lose all of your systems and you're scrambling to get them back up and recover to your last recovery point? Are you in a panic because you only plan for a natural disaster to cause total outage and don't know where to start now? Maybe some of these only impact some of your systems, but how much of the business is that taking down? Are your online stores down so you can't take new orders or enter deals in the sales systems? Are email or financial systems down so people can't work? Now you have groups down, IT and operations ignoring their day jobs, scrambling to get everything back up. Then you have the application owners ignoring their day jobs because they not only have to help test the recovered functionality, but also may have to spend hours recovering or re-entering lost data because your RPO or recovery point objective is too far back. So disasters are the norm. They happen and they cause a lot more pain and cost than you may have originally planned for. Again, if that's because you're doing it because it's what you've always done, don't worry, there's hope. But that covers a lot of the unplanned outages you'll experience in your business. But what about the planned stuff? Things like application patching or upgrades, workload or data center migrations. How much time does it take to execute these? I've gone through these, you've gone through these. How long is this taking? What happens when something goes wrong? Does that even happen? Personally, I've done many data center migration projects, and I know that even though you have a scheduled maintenance window with a buffer built in to troubleshoot any errors, you still need to schedule this with the appropriate teams and business units. You're still needing to account for something going wrong and what happens when something goes wrong during the middle of a migration on a Friday night. And you're getting the server and application owners involved all week and until it's resolved. What's the breaking point in which you have to decide if you roll back or continue ahead because you can no longer roll back? What happens to all these other server migrations you had to neglect and now reschedule because you're tending to the failed one? What happens if you have to roll back the schedule and schedule a migration again? Pick another weekend that works for everyone involved, incur even more downtime. What happens if you've already moved some of the servers that are part of the application? Do you need to run them split across data centers now? Maybe. Can you? What happens if you migrate all of the application servers but still have an issue that you troubleshoot all weekend until you realize there was an infrastructure misconfiguration or you forgot to migrate one server for this application that no one even knew existed or was part of the picture? Unplanned downtime. That's what happens. What if you had a choice between auto insurance or a full-on pit crew, a race team? Like with your current plans in place, your car insurance covers you from those major outages, those power losses or smoking craters as they're referred to in the IT industry. If you need to replace your brakes, tires, wheels, suspension, something goes wrong, is your insurance policy there for you? Sometimes in the event of a cracked windshield, or maybe if one of those other things caused an accident that was covered. But really it's just there to cover those more rare events like a full-on accident or some natural disasters, right? Do you need a separate policy from a different vendor to cover all the other outages, such as a flat tire, running out of gas, a dead battery, etc.? Well, you can't necessarily have a personal pit crew for your vehicle because you've compared the risks of disaster and the costs associated with these different solutions. On the flip side of this thought, would a race team ever fire their pit crew in favor of saving a few dollars or going with an insurance policy instead? Maybe they'd be okay with halting their business in the pit lane, calling insurance, and waiting the 45 minutes to 2 hours for fuel and getting back into the race. But probably not. Well, if you need your car all the time and you need your business all the time, business is not 9 to 5 anymore. Global offices spanning many time zones mean systems need to be up. You no longer have the same maintenance windows or backup windows. You're working globally, you're selling globally. Even if you're a local business and haven't reached in that full-on global market, people are going home and forgetting something or meaning to get something later. They're accessing your systems and data on their phones, on the run, or on their laptops over the weekend. Systems need to be up. Your business needs to run. Your business is a race team. Believe it or not, you can actually get a pit crew for your business today. Remember I said technology is changing. Technology has helped many organizations move from 24-hour RPOs and RTOs to RPOs and RTOs of just hours, minutes, or even seconds. Technology is getting even better and more affordable, and you no longer have to accept hours of RPOs and RTOs, and maybe don't even need multiple solutions with different objectives to cover different types of outages and downtime. IT is evolving, and we need to take advantage of this evolution. Let's not be held back by older technology and systems anymore. IT has also evolved. We've gone from physical servers to server virtualization, which has abstracted the compute layer to make servers more flexible and mobile, to software-defined data center, which allows for the abstraction of many more physical layers, including storage, networking, security, and replication. And of course, the more software-defined your business can be, the easier you can adopt and take advantage of clouds, whether private, public, or a mix of these, referred to as a hybrid cloud. This shift is happening all across the world in every type of organization. We need to stop worrying about an insurance policy for disaster recovery. We have so many disasters we maybe haven't even classified correctly in our business, but truly cause downtime, loss, and rework, and are covered by ancient methodologies and technologies, or not even covered at all. IT resilience is about minimizing the worry of downtime, but I like to think of it more about concentrating on maximizing uptime. The business may not even know a disaster has occurred within the organization if the organization is resilient to outages and extremely quick to recover with little or no loss. What if you can reduce loss to only seconds? What if you could recover whatever you need within minutes? What if you no longer needed all hands on deck to address every single impact to the business? Would this give you more time to focus on the business? We've talked about why virtualization is big and what's been changing in order to help move the business to the future and take advantage of the cloud-like entities. With all these advantages, you may find it hard to believe many businesses are still running physical servers. Yes, some have limitations and aren't yet prepared to be virtualized, but not putting time and effort into addressing this can actually cause more outages and inflexibility in your IT organization. Let's have a look why. A recent example with a good-sized business had an outage that impacted a data center in Atlanta running about 180 of their applications. This was the impact to their business. Well, they actually had a power outage, but even worse is their backup UPS had failed. They had no DR site for this data center, and they also didn't have virtualization implemented. Huge impact to the business that we're never expecting because they always thought they were just covered. There is no DR site. This absolutely means no resilience to IT outages, absolutely no quick recovery. How many of you can test regularly? Are you completely confident it will always run successfully? No ability to test without causing downtime and extended outages. This just simply means no guarantee. To solve for this, you still need a DR site, the ability to restore and run applications, test the failover regularly, and when you know your results are consistently successful, you can at least guarantee recovery. You also have to make sure all of this covers you against multiple types of disasters. Physical sites are very complex, and managing physical servers requirements, dependencies, and build times possess nothing but challenges and plenty of room for error. You get vendor lock-in, days to recover from a disaster, and all these specifics and requirements make it extremely hard to test. Introducing virtualization. Think of it as a huge container of all your applications and data. It's portable and much easier to recover without all the same hardware vendor lock-in. Many more DR options and levels of availability open up once you start virtualizing. So we realized there are many great reasons to virtualize, and this is a topic I could discuss with you for a lengthy amount of time, but for now, let's just stick to the schedule. There are many ways to protect a virtualized environment. A couple of popular technologies are with virtual machine backups, which bring data loss of up to 24 hours, and recovery time of another 24 hours on top of that. It's not ever really tested and has a high failure rate, depending on the technology and method of recovery. It has a limited use for DR. Storage replication, or even virtual machine snapshots, it does get the RPO down to a couple of hours, sometimes less if the environment's small enough. It can still take several hours to recover and actually repair everything that either didn't replicate in time, recover from the right time, or it needed repair. It doesn't get tested much at all, again, because of all these complexities and outage windows that are just too great for today's organizations. As we move forward toward being more software defined, where we rely less and less on the physical infrastructure hosting our environment, we can now experience fewer outages in some cases, but also much faster recoverability. You don't even need site lock-in either. Take advantage of clouds, have the flexibility of running your workloads anywhere, knowing everything is consistent and capable and can quickly be recovered. We're at a tipping point. Sure, many businesses run on-premise, but that doesn't mean it's not in their own private cloud that they're hosting themselves. And it doesn't mean that they're not splitting workloads to run some in a public cloud or a hosted cloud. Since we're talking about building your own clouds and providing your own solutions, let's switch gears a little and expand on the concept of DRaaS, or Disaster Recovery as a Service, and what that offers to your business. What does this mean? This means someone else is hosting your disaster recovery site. This might mean that you have an on-premise cloud and you want to DR to someone else's cloud. Or it might mean that you already have moved your workloads from offsite into the cloud to run, but want to have a disaster recovery site at another one of those cloud providers. When you run your own DR site, you have the expense of power, cooling, real estate, hardware, networking, administration, licenses, maintenance, etc. Not only that, but you're locked in. You're locked into a site for a period of time, and moving from that site whenever you want to isn't all that easy or quick. Refreshes cost a lot of money and, of course, grow exponentially if you maintain even more than just one DR site. With DR as a service, you only pay for what you use, and you also do have the flexibility to migrate there if you decide to in the future. You don't carry the cost of or planning of hardware refreshes on that site. You can predict almost exactly what it's going to cost for you for the year, month to month, and you can even take advantage of managed cloud providers like phoenixNAP that do all the work for you. You can let them manage the infrastructure and even the actual DR event too. So you're ready to move forward. You're ready to get an affordable, reliable pit crew for your business. Where do you start, and what should you be asking to ensure you're not getting stuck with too many limitations you just weren't expecting? Does the offering give you any visibility into your protection? Do you know what the current replication state is and what the latest recoverable point in time you can actually get your business running on is? Some solutions just show you that your sites are connected, but you may have no idea what your true RPO is. Even if you think about a backup solution running every night and expect a 24-hour RPO, you still may have to know that when each backup job ended to truly know how far back you can go for that known good data and how long that job took. Can you actually consistently prove your RTO? Do you have down all the steps, the operations, and technical training and know-how to execute this successfully every time? Can you easily prove your DR compliance through this process? Are you making any sacrifices such as outages or data loss during these practices of proving your RTO? How many times have you tried to set and abide by your RTO you've selected based on your business and technology, and have constantly been unable to meet that RTO? Just because you tell me you have a 4-hour RTO doesn't mean you don't have to tell me your real RTO is actually 7 hours or maybe non-existent, right? And I mentioned testing. Can I use the solution to actually perform isolated tests in order to help me prove my RPOs and RTOs and my compliance? Can I do any of this any time of the day instead of having DR weekend with all hands on deck? Think about that. DR weekends with all hands on deck. It sounds like a disaster in and of itself. It's planned downtime, sure, but it's an outage you're causing that you could actually mitigate with an offering that allows you to test your DR solution while production is still up. You know what else this means? You can use this to test migrations, data center migrations to your data center through acquisitions, test out that cloud before you decide to migrate there. Make sure it all works right. If it doesn't, fix it and test it again, as much as you want before you commit. How much time is this going to save versus finding out about all these issues the night of the migration, which cause you to work on that one server all weekend with all hands on deck? Test this out while everyone's in the office on Tuesday morning. Testing even opens up that protection against disasters, outages your business encounters even during application upgrades, operating system upgrades or patches, code changes. What if you could test these anytime, ahead of time, and work out any issues before actually rolling these out into production servers? What about SLAs, service level agreements? Does my solution or my cloud provider offer multiple SLAs so I can select the right fit for my business? Can I put some workloads into one SLA and others into another? Can I choose between a very close DR site and a very far away DR site? Maybe I have a need for multiple locations. And yes, you can trust the cloud. I work with many businesses that run all their important workloads in our cloud, and I work with others that don't. It depends on your needs and experience and finding the right cloud provider to work with. Not all clouds are created equal. Some people can use these replication technologies to test in the cloud and try it out before committing to it. When using a cloud provider, look into the support offerings, hours, success rate with customer success stories. Will they be there only when you need them? If they're a managed service, how much of the process will they handle versus what you're expected to handle? Will they execute and deliver as promised? Are they there to help you implement your solution? Are they there to help you with day one or day-to-day ongoing operations? Are they there during a disaster any time of the day? If I encounter a disaster and have to fail over my site, I don't necessarily want to be stuck there. I would really love the option to fail back. Some solutions require you to manually break everything you're working in order to go through the process of setting it all back up again in the other direction. But this does take lots of time and lots of documentation to remember what you actually have to reconfigure in the first place. Try out some solutions that offer automated failback and actually allow you to take advantage of that, whether it's your private cloud or a hosted cloud. You'll probably want to be able to fail over to your DR site, which could also be local with one-to-many replication with only a few clicks. Repair your primary site. Replicate your data back to the primary site. Even take advantage of the preceding feature to just sync the block level differences from the DR site back to the primary site rather than the entire data set. Can I recover my applications? Oftentimes, an application is made up of many servers that are dependent upon each other. When we're talking about replication technologies, one thing that often gets overlooked is the concept of keeping data between these applications in a consistent RPO state in order to successfully recover them together. This picture on the left shows us a small look into replication schedule amongst applications. The light-colored VMs here show these VMs support the same application stack, So if I need to recover them, I probably have the database server a few hours behind the application, index, file servers, etc. This is a management nightmare trying to track these VMs and ensure they replicate at the exact same time. This also limits your ability to take advantage of some of the more convenient hypervisor features that are created to help give your business more resiliency. Can you perform storage vMotion or enable automated storage DRS to mitigate storage overload or hotspots? Are you tracking VM placement in an Excel spreadsheet? Now multiply this over many applications, hundreds or thousands of VMs. This is simply unmanageable. How much time are you spending repairing, recovering, or re-entering data after recovery of these VMs? There's a better way. Having a solution that understands your virtual machines and is capable of capturing them at the same point in time allows you to experience quick, easy, and consistent recovery. You don't need to spend time fixing data to get the application working again. Looking at DRES solutions will open your world to so many more possibilities, not only with having more recovery sites to choose from, but also a much more extensive toolbox of recoverability solutions. They can help or become your pit crew to keep your business running and cover much more than the smoking crater disaster. Again, it's time to evolve. We're working hard to minimize the impact to your business, and now it's time for IT resilience. It's time to think about all the ways you can maximize uptime for your business. Here's a quick calculator we use to just when calculating a major disaster to your environment. Even if you go with these figures for these types of disasters, it's at least easy to compare the impact your solution can have on your business. If you're still running daily backups with an RPO of 24 hours and an RTO of 24 hours, you could be looking at well above a day before you're back up and running, and with lots and lots of data and productivity loss. Replication technologies came around and really helped us bring those recovery objectives so much lower in order to minimize that loss of data and time. And the cost savings is significant as far as loss to the business. Look into hypervisor-based technologies that can minimize downtime or maximize your uptime with extremely short periods of data loss and extremely quick recovery times. Jump past the disaster before the business even knows it happened. What you may actually discover is these solutions can not only pay for themselves, but also continue to give a return on investment, allowing you to prove to the business you've invested in a technology that will mitigate this risk. Think about the time it takes you to configure, manage, and maintain all of these solutions, and the time and complexities it may take you to recover. So roll back very quickly with little to no loss, and sometimes you can use this same solution to recover from multiple types of disasters. Yes, there are still times you'll use a certain solution for a very specific reason, but the majority of use cases can take advantage of a solution or a cloud provider that can give you access to these capabilities for all your disasters, including the site failures, the application failures across virtual machines, a single virtual machine failure, or even file level recovery from any of those virtual machines. To recap, take the time to figure out your needs and future-proof your business. Future-proof against site or lock-in with a vendor, whether it be from hardware or storage platforms or even hypervisor platforms. We've had numerous cases of customers being able to take advantage of less expensive storage due to their solution being storage agnostic between sites, which gave them an immediate return on investment. Protect your business and maximize uptime with the lowest RPOs and RTOs and testing and reporting to prove it. Use your solution to migrate, consolidate, and move workloads. We've seen many people migrate and move workloads around the country and across the world. If you can replicate and then test in a fully isolated environment without downtime or impact to production or your replication solution, you will then have full confidence that you can move your workloads and that you're ready to do so. Move workloads to the cloud for DRAS or use a cloud for DRAS right from your on-premise environment. It can all be easier with better protection and recoverability than you thought was possible. So get out there and take that meeting invite over the next couple of days to look at these solutions working and make the call to change from what you've been used to and knew back then to what you know now. Being future-proof includes the need to always be cloud ready. If you're unsure about the latest technology coming your way or how to even take advantage of it, invest into future-proof solutions that will enable to replicate and move workloads whenever you need them, along with the ability to test ahead of time before you're making any decisions. Here's some quotes from a few Zerto customers for reference of their experiences when moving to technologies that are designed for their environment. And that concludes our webinar today. We are sending out invites for a second and third webinar that will get a little bit more technical and actually cover our Zerto-based DR as a service solution. If you attend the second and third webinar, you'll be entered to win a Kindle Paperwhite e-reader. And please post any questions you might have and we'll answer those right now.